a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people.
Hello and welcome to another 3ABN Today program. We are so grateful that you have joined us this day. How's your day going? I can hear everyone at home.
That's
hopefully
right.
saying good. It's been good here at 3ABN. Why? Because the Lord Jesus Christ is Lord of our life. He's in charge of the ministry of 3ABN, and we hope that He's in charge of your life today. If you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, we always want to invite you to do that, because when Christ is in your life, what a blessing it is, because He's the one that's in control. Though life may have its ups and its downs, you've got Jesus by your side, and it can't get any better than that. But we always want to say thank you for your prayers and financial support for the ministry of 3ABN, because it is changing lives for eternity. What a blessing.
Amen. I love the Today program
I do
because
too.
we get to feature guests and ministries from all around the world. We get to see what God is doing in and through other people's lives. And sometimes we share testimonies, what God is doing. And this particular Today program is a ministry.
Amen.
It would not be a stranger to you if you're at all familiar with 3ABN. I'm speaking of Weimar College, and we're going to talk about Weimar Institute. And our guests here, we have some of the students who are currently attending Weimar, but our special guest is no stranger to you at 3ABN, because Dr. Neil Nedley has been on 3ABN. Do you know, this is putting you on the spot, when was the first time you came on 3ABN? Do you remember how many years it's been?
It was the 90s, and probably, you know,
Probably the mid or early 90s.
Yeah, early to mid 90s.
Do you remember the program that
Wonderfully Made, I think it was.
a few years ago? And of course, those that have followed 3ABN through the years, you have 4 wonderful sons and a wife. So tell us, because this is just going back a little bit, reminiscing. So your boys played on some of the kids' programs, violin.
They did.
They sing?
They do sing, but I don't think they sang on 3ABN.
Okay.
It was mostly the instrumental part.
They're growing up, and so tell us what they're doing now.
Yeah, so our oldest, Joel, who played the violin, he's a physical therapist, and he's in full-time practice of physical therapy.
Oh, wow.
Our second oldest, who played the viola, is a physician, and he is in orthopedic residency, so he's going to be a surgeon.
Good for him.
And
great.
specializing in the bones and muscles and all of those sorts of things. And our third just finished with a business degree. And he's actually working in our Oklahoma office of the Nedley Health Solutions, that we help support those that are putting on programs, community programs around the world. And our youngest is at Weimar Academy, actually. This will be his senior year, and he's going to be in the college soon.
Wow, it's amazing. It's a privilege to have you back here at 3ABN, Dr. Nedley. Maybe you're watching and you're saying, I'm not even sure I'm familiar with Dr. Nedley, because I'm a brand new 3ABN viewer. So Dr. Neil Nedley is the president of Weimar Institute. He is also a doctor. He is a gastroenterologist with specialty in internal medicine and gastroenterology. And the difficult to diagnose patient, I'm not sure I get everything
No,
right.
you got it. That's pretty
Doing a
good.
good job.
And I know you've written, I think it's 4 books. I'm thinking off the top of my head, Proof Positive and Depression, The Way Out, and what else have you
The
written?
Lost Art of Thinking and Optimize Your Brain.
Okay. And I know you do a lot with, I want to say the brain, but as far as emotional intelligence and depression and anxiety recovery programs. So talk to us just a moment about some of those, because they're incorporated with your program at Weimar as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we run residential depression and anxiety recovery programs there, as well as community programs that these students help out with. But the residential, they also get an opportunity to help out with. And those are for those that are severely depressed or anxious. Most of our patients actually are thinking of ending their life almost every day before they come to our program. Or they have panic attacks multiple times a day. So severe mental illness conditions. And then we treat them in a comprehensive manner. leaving no stone unturned and getting to the root causes. And the amazing thing is these mental illnesses that are thought to not be able to be eradicated are eradicated, and they're not just controlled, they can actually be cured through nutrition, lifestyle, and comprehensive measures. And these students get to see this real time, so that's one of the advantages of being at Weimar.
Amen. You know, that must be just incredible, though, because you're really providing hope.
Absolutely.
When people are that, I mean, basically hopeless, and they think there's no, they can't change, it's just,
Right.
It's life for the rest that I can think of. And here you're able to, by natural ways, change that.
Exactly, exactly.
And I know that you speak, not just in Seventh-day Adventist institutions, but around the world. And I know Jill and I were in Minnesota here some time back, and we saw that Dr. Neil Nedley coming to Mayo Clinic to lecture there. So just share with us the opportunities that God has opened up for you and being able to share what he can do.
Well, you know, God is blessed. Speaking of that Mayo opportunity, you know, the interesting thing is I was speaking on a Friday evening, and it was before Sabbath, but at the end of that presentation, in fact, I had asked the people who had brought me, I said, you know, I don't travel on the Sabbath. If you could get in touch with the Adventist Church, they might be interested in me speaking there. I didn't get in touch with them, but they did. And they actually helped to line up some things that they wanted me to speak on there as well. Amen. And so at the end of that presentation at Mayo, the person who brought me there, who's not an Adventist, but at Mayo, said, you know what, you had to pay for this event to hear Dr. Nedley. But tomorrow, if you go to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, you'll be able to hear him for free 4 different times. But you have to register online, but it's free. And so they had 170 visitors from the Mayo Clinic come on Sabbath.
170 visitors.
170 visitors came from Mayo, and many of them stayed the whole day for all 4 of those presentations. And they were introduced to not just the nutrition and medical side of things, but the fact that the spiritual side is so key and important.
Praise the Lord.
And so, yeah, they had never seen the parking lot so
that full.
In fact, they had to park in all sorts of other places. And
that's a good problem.
But it was exciting, and many of them physicians and high-end people. One of the physicians who's high up in Mayo was filming me the whole time and asked if he could film me just to show me to his patients. And wanted to have that resource for his patients availability.
Amen. Praise the Lord. God's done opening those opportunities.
God's given you a gift, and to be able to use that gift to help people, minister to doctors and lay people and students. Speaking of students, we want to introduce. We'll introduce each one of you, and then we'll come back and hear some of your stories and what brought you to Weimar and what your major is and all of that. But we have Natalie Fish. And then next to Natalie, and Natalie, you are a natural science student. And then next to you is Bailey Schmidt. And Bailey, you are theology, you're taking theology. And then next to you is Matthew Laredo, and you're a nursing student.
Correct.
So we'll do ladies first, I guess. Let's go back to Natalie and tell us what brought you to Weimar.
Well, the reason why I came to Weimar originally was to do the 4-month health program. And what we pretty much learn in that program is how to minister to people through health evangelism and do community programs such as Diabetes Undone, Depression Recovery, smoking cessation clinics. So just different things like that. And so at the end of that, we get a certificate in health coaching. So we work with patients during the program, like teaching them different things they can learn health-wise.
So, you know, I was just thinking about this Weimar. So Weimar is where? Are you from, well, tell us where Weimar is located first.
And anybody can jump in.
Weimar is located in the foothills of the Sierra in California, Northern California. And yeah, we're all from different places. I'm from Washington.
I was just going to ask, well, are you all from California then?
No.
I am.
Are you from California, Matthew?
I am from California.
What about you, Natalie?
I'm from Washington as well.
You're from Washington as well. Okay. So that's a pretty part of the country to go to, Weimar. I've been there, it's been a few years back, but it's a beautiful, beautiful area. So location is nice, but then, yeah, continue on then, Natalie.
Yeah, so anyway, after the end of that, so we get the certificate, and then I decided to stay on and go through the natural science program to be a dietitian. So I'll get as many classes as I can in for my prerequisites, and I hope to go to Loma Linda after that.
Ooh.
Become a doctor?
No, to be a dietitian.
A dietitian,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So the natural science program then would be like a feeder for different types of degrees. Would that be right?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do physical therapy, you can do dentistry, pre-med. Most of our natural science students are there for pre-med or pre-dent.
I see.
But we have quite a few there for physical therapy and some for dietitian, or you can have, you know, all sorts of different graduate avenues that you can go to. Some just get their master's in public health and do just public health afterwards.
Now, Wimmer's made an educational, I don't know if it's an educational shift, but it's recently accredited, and I don't even know how recently it's been accredited, because I don't know that, but it didn't used to be accredited, and now it is. So talk to us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, it is recent. March of 2019
Okay, so this is
when
recent.
we were notified of our accreditation, but they did something very unique, and that is they made it retroactive for a year and a half, which is kind of unheard of. So our previous graduates actually also graduated from an accredited university, and this is the highest level of accreditation you can achieve in America. It's called regional accreditation. Stanford, you know, places like Harvard have regional accreditation. And
Okay.
so this is the highest level that you can get, and it makes it a lot easier as far as transferability
I'm
for
sure.
these students and opening up a lot of avenues that way.
Praise the Lord. You going to say something?
Well, I guess something that's unique is that I guess the three of us all chose to come to Weimar before it was accredited. And that was a lot to do with the principles and the values that the Institute stood for and what we saw there, the education, and making that choice even before it was accredited. And so now it's a blessing from the Lord, I think, and the way He's led the Institute. So
you're a theology student.
yes, I am a theology student.
Why did you choose theology?
Why did I choose theology as a major? Well, it kind of happened through my academy experiences and growing up. I've been around leadership and involved in church ministries through Pathfinders and different things. And I had never heard of Weimar until going away to academy. And I was first introduced there through Health Expo training. And I got to witness the students and their lifestyle, and one of the professors who came along, and I saw something that, you know, just wasn't normal from other colleges. And I remember talking to the one professor, and he told me, he's like, if you want to be involved in medical ministry, come to Weimar. And through prayer and God opening doors clearly, he's led me to Weimar to study theology, and it's been a blessing to see how Bible-based the program is.
Amen.
And how it upholds the spirit of prophecy. It truly is a blessing to see that at our institute.
So when you say, Bailey, you saw something there that was not normal or that was different, as it were, from the other colleges, what set it apart? I know you mentioned a few things here, but what specifically in your mind set it apart?
Well, one of those was the spiritual focus. The students, you could tell that it wasn't just something they were doing, wasn't something they were faking, but they had an experience. And that was something that I was blessed to go to a good academy, but I wanted to continue that experience outside of just my academy years. And so that was a huge thing. Another thing is the practicality of the program, and we can touch on that more, but there's a lot of opportunities to get out, to not just be in the books, because education is so much more than book knowledge. It's the practical application, and that's something that is unique to Weimar, and how much opportunity you have to do that.
So then, Matthew, you're a nursing student.
I am, yes. I'm a nursing student. I just graduated, in fact. I did the associate's degree in nursing, so it's 1 year prereqs and then 2 years of nursing school. And you graduate and you're able to take your board exam. So I'll be going back home soon to do that.
Amen.
But,
Back to Washington.
Just enjoying it now.
California. That's right, to Washington,
Yeah.
Washington, California.
Got it. We're going to
I'm the only local, yes.
Why don't I have a test, Dr. Okay.
Yeah.
So you enjoy then the health field, because I know we often talk
do.
about the health message being the right arm of the gospel.
Right,
So
certainly.
why did you decide to pick the health field? For that reason?
You know, definitely. And, you know, something that was unique, I think, for me was growing up, my mom did a lot of the depression and recovery anxiety programs in our local church. And she did it with a friend there. And so seeing that growing up and just realizing what a power there is in health evangelism, I looked at Weimar and I realized that, I could go to any nursing school, but that Weimar in particular would give me the opportunity to learn from people like Dr. Nedley and be able to, apply the knowledge that I was learning directly during my clinicals there. So it was very fun. It was unique to be able to, study disease in my nursing textbooks and then at the same time study alongside it treatment from, principles found in the Spirit of Prophecy in the Bible that could be used instead to really impact these patients' lives, and then to go to the hospital and to apply it, and to do that alongside, physicians and instructors who had that as their primary goal. So that was definitely unique and something that I'm very grateful for going on in my practice.
Matthew actually rotated with me in a hospitalist shift at the local hospital. And that was part of his clinical training. So he doesn't just learn from nurses, as important as that is.
Right.
But he was able to learn from the physician perspective and see how he related to the nurses and see also how lifestyle and spiritual interventions can work in an acute care setting. And that does make Weimar unique. The other places, the nurses don't have that opportunity.
How many classes do you teach, Dr. Nedley?
Well, I teach 3, Principles of Health and Optimize Your Brain and Depression and Anxiety Recovery, but I'm also involved in clinical sites that aren't necessarily a course, but they're part of course, a med-surg course, but I'm just one of the clinical instructors that he has, along with many other good ones.
Yes.
So how many majors, then, at Weimar?
Right now we have 7, if you add it all up. So we have the
theology,
the health science, nursing.
Nursing. We have business, particularly emphasizing healthcare administration or management. We also have education on top of that, and we have an interdisciplinary program that's a psychology emphasis. And that's something that's very important to train the right type of psychology counselors.
Yes.
And Weimar is very unique in how they do that, but they become exceptional counselors. And then we also have the health evangelism and leadership training program that Natalie finished.
Nice.
That's a lot.
So talk to us a little bit about the practical aspect of some of your training. So I know you talked about the clinical and being able to do that with Dr. Nedley, but what about a program called TCI? Tell me what that means and how you all are involved in that.
It stands for Total Community Involvement, Total Campus Involvement. And essentially what it means is that we want to get as involved as we can. We want every campus member, every student to be involved in the community. To go out not just to learn, but then to apply and to live the principles that, we're being taught in practical application. So it's really unique. We go out into the community. We have different teams that go to different areas in the surrounding towns, and we do it every Wednesday in the afternoon for about 3 to 4 hours. And we go out and, for most people that we come to their door, it's a very unique experience because they're expecting, some sort of person selling vacuums or trying to get them to buy some cleaning product, but instead we're coming there and asking how we can just improve their lives, and meet the needs that they have.
Okay, so let me just ask this. So is this unannounced then? You're just going to someone's door?
Correct.
Okay, so you knock on my door. So I open the door and say, hello, hi, how can I help you?
Yes.
What would you tell me?
I would say, hi, my name is Matthew, and I'm a student from the Weimar Institute. Have you ever heard of the Weimar Institute?
I haven't, no. Tell me about Weimar Institute.
Well, Weimar Institute is a small college academy as well as a health institute that's just north of the Auburn area in the Colfax.
I know where Auburn is, okay.
Yes. And so we have a school up there, and every week we come out, and it's really our goal as a campus to get involved in the community and see how we can meet the needs that our community members have and to interface with them and develop relationships. So that's why I'm here, and how can I best improve your life and help you?
Wow, are you saying that you see all these leaves or pine needles on my front yard? Are you saying you might clean those up?
I would love to. We could cook with you. We could give you a massage.
What?
I'm signing up.
Okay, so there's got to be a catch here. What will I owe you? I mean, surely you're not just going to do it for free.
Completely free.
Completely free.
Yes.
And why would you do that for free for me?
Because I feel that it's really why we're placed here on earth, to alleviate suffering. And so any way that I can best do that, I think, would be the highest calling and the greatest thing that I could do.
Well, that touches my heart. Can I give you some lemonade or something like that?
Cookies.
That's powerful. That is powerful, though. Every Wednesday. Go ahead. You're going to say something about
No,
that.
that's often the response. People, as we give, they give back. And that's been a blessing because, I didn't come to Weimar just to study. I came to learn to be a godly minister. And so I've had the privilege actually to lead one of our groups. We divide the college into like 14 different groups, and our professors are going out with us. And so I'm working actually with one of my religion professors, planning, organizing door-to-door work, ministry, Bible studies, health coaching, all that stuff. And I remember particularly, actually, it was when we first began, we showed up at this mobile home park. I knocked on a door, and this lady came out and she says, "You're not supposed to be here. There's no soliciting. Get out of here." So I went to the next door, and the same response, and I was going to the third door, and this guy pulled up and he told me to get out or he was going to call the sheriff. I was like, okay, I should probably leave. So
It's getting a little stressful.
yeah. So we were heading out, and actually this lady comes out, and she turned out to be the manager of the park. She says, "What are you guys doing?" So, "Well, we're here. We're trying to help through these different means as Matthew shared with us." And she says, "That's awesome." She says, "We have a newsletter. Write it up, and I'll put your phone numbers in." Later that week, we had a call from that lady that had first turned me down.
Oh, wow.
Since
Isn't
then,
that
yeah,
asking for help?
asking for help just with her yard. And it's gone from yard to helping her with her diabetes to
Oh, wow.
getting into the Word. And it's taken, 2 years, but it's a blessing to form those friendships, to not just go out. Sometimes if you've ever canvassed or something, you see somebody once, but this is developing friendships that I believe will last for eternity. And that's practical, and it makes a difference not only in their lives but ours.
I mean, what an incredible program. I mean, you can just see the excitement on these young people's faces. And so we haven't heard from you, Natalie. I'm sure you have an experience pertaining to TCI.
Yeah, so during the, I think it was about the first month of my 4-month health program, we started a program called Diabetes Undone. And it was our first program. And we had a lady come in with her husband. And the first time she came in, she was walking with a walker, and she was bent over. She looked like she was in a lot of pain. And she went through the first night. She seemed very enthusiastic about it. She was asking lots of questions. And she got to the end of that night, and they left and went home. And they came back the next couple weeks. And then one day, she finally walked in, and she didn't have a walker anymore. And she was walking.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, without a walker, she was walking very well. And she was telling us that a lot of her pain had left. And it was amazing to watch as she continued to come to the rest of the programs, and she came to a couple of the other ones that we put on. And just recently she came to the Evangelistic Series program at the end of the school year. So it's amazing to see. One of my friends was her personal health coach, and she's told me some of the stories, and it's amazing to see the transformation that can happen in one person's life by these lifestyle measures. So that's definitely been one of my best experiences to see that.
What an amazing thing. You
I
think
agree.
about Christ's method alone, how it brings true success. You see the needs, find out what the needs are, and seek to meet those needs. And then, what's it say? Then he bade them follow me. So first of all, we get in the community and share Jesus and love, as you all do, with these people and meet their needs, and then they're interested in those spiritual things. We have a video, not all the students obviously from Weimar, we just brought a few here, Dr. Natalie brought a few, but there's a video dealing with the religion program in Jules. So let's take a look at that video.
My name is Jules Caracera. I'm a second-year religion major on a pre-med track, and this is my Weimar story. I'm kind of used to being the unique one. I'm Zimbabwean by birth, with origins from Rwanda, and I grew up in the States. This, plus being an Adventist at a public college in Texas, I was unique. That changed when I got to Weimar. With all these backgrounds and cultures, everybody here is different. In my religion classes, I'm taught by professors from around the world who have all kinds of unique faith situations, like a Rwandan genocide survivor, or a pastor who's a nurse, or a professor who grew up in post-war Croatia. The rest of my life here is pretty extraordinary too. I work in the development office, so I'm seeing the special generosity and life stories of our donors. I'm also learning from the unique life stories on campus when I eat with my lunch crew, hang out at staff houses, or play basketball with my friends, going to the gym to work out, or play some ping pong. With a unique focus on a healthy body and mind, there is so much to do here. There's a lot to do in the area through total community involvement. It's an unmatched program because it's not just a one-time or one-day deal. We go back week after week to stay connected with the people that we meet. Personally, my connection to God has grown exponentially here. Living out my faith through music ministry, the spiritual programs, and even conversations with my classmates, it all challenges me to really think about what I believe. It's giving me a distinct worldview based on a solid faith. Here, being unique is, well, normal. That's my Weimar story. Come to Weimar and discover yours.
Wow, that's a powerful testimony right there, Dr. Nedley. It must warm your heart to see the young people and the impact that Weimar is making in their lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Bailey, I know that you're a theology student. Tell us just a little bit more about that major, because Jules is in that major that we just saw.
Yeah. Well, actually, just this past semester, Jules and the rest of my theology classmates, we had the opportunity to actually plan and organize the evangelistic series that Natalie mentioned.
Wow.
And so we were speaking for it, we were planning the budgets, we were organizing the program, all of that. And that was a really good experience because we got to work with the church pastor, which is Pastor McIntosh, and we had to work with the elders and get that experience of what it is like to be involved practically in church ministry. And so that was just different aspects like that it's a small program right now, so we need more. If you're feeling the calling to go into ministry, I would encourage you to consider Weimar because it is really a blessing to see the focus and our professors just constantly pointing us to search our own hearts, to make sure that Jesus is abiding there, because it doesn't matter what we do if Christ is not in us. So.
Dr. Nedley, we're getting ready to do some musical chairs here shortly with some more students that you brought with you. So I want to just then talk to you too, Matthew, just a couple of seconds of why someone should attend maybe Weimar College or something that's on your heart right now before we switch out the seats here.
Certainly, you know, I think of Amos 3:3, you know, can two walk together unless they be agreed? And like Jules stated in the video, you know, being unique is normal. And so it's nice to be in a place where you feel like you have students around you that, you know, are desiring the same thing, like Bailey said, who are desiring to have a relationship with God. And so if that's truly the desire of a student, you know, and they're wanting to be in an environment where they can grow and where they'll have teachers who are not as focused on their academic success as on their spiritual success and on them, you know, having a relationship with God, then I would encourage them to come.
Amen.
What about you, Natalie? I know you just went through your freshman year, right? So tell us why someone should attend or something that's on your heart.
I think a big thing for people, especially who want to go into the medical field, is if you come to Weimar, you can learn how to be a medical missionary. And that's so important for the work that we have to do in these last days. And if someone really is truly desiring that, then Weimar is the place for them to be.
Amen. I feel like I need to go back to college because I want to go to Weimar. You all have inspired me. And at the end of the program, we will definitely put up the contact information for Weimar because we want you to get involved, not just financially, but maybe you have young people or you're a young person yourself and God is calling you to attend Weimar College. Thank you so much, Natalie Fish, Bailey Schmidt, and Matthew Laredo for coming and sharing your heart and your story with Weimar, with our family at home. We're going to go to a song and then we'll change out and we will have some other students here and you'll get to meet them as well. This is Alessandra Sorace. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is a beautiful young woman. She has a heart for God and she will be ministering a song, I Will Go.
Give me ears to hear.
Amen. Beautiful song, wonderfully done. We love Alessandra Sorace here. She just has a beautiful spirit and a heart. And years ago, she used to sing on Kids Time, and I had the privilege of playing the piano for her a couple times. So, so good to see her again on that song.
And a great message too, you know that?
Great message.
I will go. Very much fits the program we've been talking about here at Weimar.
Amen. And I know we're many minutes into the program, but we're talking about Weimar College and what God is doing in and through the students and the faculty there. We have Dr. Neil Nedley, who is the president of Weimar Institute, and sitting next to you is Ryan Branson. And Ryan, you're an education major, and we'll hear a little bit more from you. And I'm going to do my very best to pronounce the rest of these names. We have Carolina Mikulashkova.
All right.
Maybe you should pronounce for us.
Mikulashkova.
Oh, thank you. Much better. You're a psychology.
You did fabulously.
Oh, thank you. You're a psychology student, and we'll hear about that. And then at the end is Tino Sikirai.
Yes, good job.
And your business education. Business administration.
Yes, business administration, exactly.
Okay, so why don't we start with you, Tino? Talk to us about business administration and the major there and what you're learning there at Weimar.
Okay, great. When I first heard about Weimar, I was actually interested in the pre-med program. And my dream as a pre-med student was to eventually go into healthcare administration as a doctor. A couple years into pre-med, I decided I wanted to study the business side of healthcare and focus on that, and that's around the time our business program started. Actually, it was Dr. Nedley's new daughter-in-law, Laura Boyer, now Nedley, who started that program for us. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
The one that married the orthopedic doctor we talked about earlier.
Yes, yes. So the business program has two tracks. One is in healthcare administration. That's what I'm pursuing. The other is in organizational leadership. And so I am just so thankful that I was able to be in a small school where I can learn about the business side of healthcare, because I think there's a need for missionary healthcare administrators. We hear about missionary doctors, missionary nurses, missionary teachers, but how many times do you hear about a missionary healthcare administrator? So looking forward to filling whatever role God puts me in after I graduate, hopefully soon.
You know, one of the things I should mention about the startup of this program is Dr. Hart, who has been president of Loma Linda for years.
That's
he
right.
has a passion for missions. And he was telling me that we can't find administrators for these mission hospitals around the world. And it's just so difficult. And we want mission administrators who are going to be mission-minded to bring in souls as well. And that's like an impossibility. So I realized, you know, Weimar centering in on health, we needed to provide that gap. And so Tino, in her senior year, is going to provide that gap and be able to be a real medical missionary from the administration side, which is a critically important part. If the administrator is off base, the whole institution is going to be off base.
Sure. That is a good point. So it's a relatively new major then.
It is,
Yes.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Our first graduate graduated this May.
Wow.
Yay.
That's great. You know, that really fits the niche then that Dr. Hart was mentioning.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Fantastic. And you've done well, Dr. Nedley, because you've brought basically students from all majors from Weimar here to visit with us today. So Carolina, tell us then your major and then what brought you to Weimar.
So I'm a psychology major. The way that it's set up, it's an interdisciplinary program, and I'm emphasizing in psychology, also minoring in music. So it's been a privilege. What brought me to Weimar is actually I attended the academy prior to joining the college. And so I was in Weimar Academy, and the first inspiration and kind of calling I felt to psychology was my sophomore year of high school. And I saw the need. I was inspired by the depression recovery program. And I knew that God was calling me to help people with depression, with anxiety. It runs in my family, and I saw how prevalent it was in society, especially today, with all the young people, especially young people now. They're losing their identity. They don't know who they are anymore, and there's a lot of confusion. And so I knew that I was being called in this line of work, but there's one problem. Weimar at that time did not offer a psychology program.
Uh-oh.
So
That's a problem.
for me, that was a problem because I saw the methods that depression recovery used and incorporating lifestyle and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is very important, looking at the thoughts. How are the thoughts affecting how you feel?
As a man thinks in his heart, so is he,
yes.
right?
And then that will affect your actions. And so it all works together. And so this was very important to me. And I was praying about it. Lord, I want to do this, but you're going to have to provide a means to study this line of work. And so, sure enough, senior year rolls around, and it is announced that they're going to start a psychology program that following fall.
At Weimar College.
Yes.
Incredible.
So it was an answer to prayer.
Amen.
It was a godsend, and it was clear to me, Lord, that the Lord wanted me to go into psychology. There's such a need. We do not have enough Christian psychologists, let alone Adventist psychologists. And so I started the program, and it was the best decision that I could have made.
Wow.
It's a unique program. It's unlike a lot of the other programs. That's the interdisciplinary aspect of it as well. And so, yeah, she'll even learn the music therapy parts of things that will improve the brain and have it be a more comprehensive type of training. But she'll also learn all the different psychological diseases and the pathologies and all of the biochemistry behind it as well. And so she's going to be set up to be an exceptional help to the Lord's work in mental illness.
What I appreciate is that it's Bible-based. So we cover all the scientific theories and all the general theories that you learn in other places. You have to know, even the ones that you might not agree with. But then we compare it to the Bible's method. And that's been so cool to see. You look at the Bible and how different characters, and even Jesus, how he dealt with people. Also reading a spirit of prophecy and seeing the counsel that is written on this topic. And it's been so enlightening. It's been very, very educational, but also very practical.
Amen.
Wow. And then Ryan, you're in the
Education.
educational field.
That's right.
So what drew you to Weimar, but then also teaching?
Right. Starting off with what drew me to Weimar, I'd say finding a school that was small in size was really a special thing to me. I looked at the student count, and when I first came, under 100 students, I thought, where can you go to college and have a student body that's under 100? I mean, that's almost
rare.
Unheard of. Now we have a little bit more than that now, but I thought, what a special opportunity to be part of a school environment that is the size where you can feel like there's more of a family atmosphere. That may not be quite the right term, but somewhere along those lines, you know. You can get to know more people, build relationships easier. And so I think that was a real plus that drew me. But also the healthy lifestyle that Weimar promotes. It was important for me to find a school that promoted some of the same lifestyle habits that I wanted to make values, you know, place them as values in my own life.
As far as like what you eat,
right,
exercise.
Right.
Fresh air,
yeah.
water.
Start, right? The acronym.
Yeah. So finding a school that takes those things and says, we're going to promote these and encourage our students, you know, to be a part of it as well. I found that to be encouraging because it coincided with what I decided, this is the course I want to pursue in my own life. And last but not least, Weimar, they really hold to the core teachings of Adventism, you know, and it's a wonderful experience to be there. And once you're there and you go through, you know, a year or two, you begin to realize, wow, this is really what Adventist education is all about. Well, even going back to the history of our, you know, education, we realized that training people to spread the good news of the gospel. Jesus is coming again. You can be ready because he loves you and he died to save you. That's what Weimar is doing. They're training people to go out and give that message. Such a blessing. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Amen. And you chose the educational field, and we have a video role we want to go to as well. But tell us why education for you.
Yeah, that one's a little bit harder of a question to answer, but teachers really influenced me, you know, in life growing up.
Okay.
And so finding kind of a niche to get into where you think, well, how can I be an influence? How can I help in the Lord's cause? I looked at what Weimar offered, and I thought, I think I'll fit in best in this program. So that, in short,
Excellent.
that pretty much does it. Yeah.
Okay. Should we go to that role now, do you think?
Let's do that. That's talking about the educational program, and this testimony is with Bailey.
Hi, my name is Bailey Gallant. I'm a second-year education student, and this is my Weimar story. I'm learning the basic and specific skills of being a teacher in my methods and classroom management courses. What I really appreciate, though, is Weimar's work-study program. I'm only a sophomore, but I've had experience in a classroom since my very first semester. Now I'm teaching a kindergarten math class. Instead of waiting until my last semester of college to experience a classroom in student teaching, I am deciding from the very beginning if education is the right fit for me. And thanks to Weimar, I already know that it is. Plus, I could add a psychology, music, or religion emphasis to expand my career options. I also love getting to know people here. I serve as the secretary for our College Student Association, and we meet every week to plan activities so people can get to know each other better. Whether it's a social night, going out for Thai food, walking the loop, or studying together in the library, there are plenty of ways to make some great friends here. I've also gotten to know some great people through our Total Community Involvement, or TCI program. Every week for the last 2 years, my TCI group has visited people in the same area. Our new friends share their needs, and we offer some practical help, and something even better through pointing them to Christ. TCI has helped me know both my classmates and the people in my community better. The spiritual activities here, like prayer meetings, small group Bible studies, and Sabbath services, have helped me know God better. And personally, I think that's the best education of all. That's my Weimar story. Come to Weimar and discover yours.
I love these vignettes. What an incredible story to get to hear just a little bit of each one of the students' stories. And Bailey Gallant is in education, and I know Ryan, talk to us a little bit about that practical aspect of education, being able to be involved in this classroom setting early on in your education.
Right, yeah, it's really been a blessing because well, usually in an education program, they have what we call student teaching, but it comes right at the end.
It's at the end, oh yeah.
And so you've spent, 3.5 years, maybe 4 years, and you really don't know whether you enjoy the classroom setting. You've learned a lot of theory, which is helpful, but you don't know for sure if that's what you want to spend the rest of your life doing. So at Weimar, it's been really great. They've implemented what we call the Work Ed program. Each student works 6 hours per week, a minimum of that, and education students get to do that work at the Weimar Elementary School. So they get in the classroom.
Freshman year.
That's
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Right first semester there.
First
in the
semester?
classroom.
Okay.
So you know right away if this is a fit.
Right.
Yeah,
You get
that's
in there, you take the theory, the head knowledge that you're learning in your classes. You get in the classroom, you act it out, you practice it, you build skills and routines that you're going to be able to take with you throughout your career, and you're going to figure out whether you enjoy it or not. That's the main thing. And you can apply those earnings towards your tuition as well. So it's a win-win for everyone. It's really a great program.
And the elementary teacher actually is a professor at the college as well. And so, when she's teaching classroom discipline and theory, then you go apply it, in the classroom, and then she can critique you and do all of this sort of thing. And so that's why our Weimar education students come out way ahead in being able to have classroom management and all those types of things, because they've been doing it for years before they actually graduate.
Oh, that's great.
That's vitally important for a teacher to learn that. I think classroom management was the hardest thing for me to learn when I did education. That was, So Tino, I'm not sure we asked you why you came to Weimar. We talked a little bit about the business and your major, but talk to us about why you came. Why did you choose Weimar?
Okay, that's a really good question because I didn't really choose Weimar. God chose it for me. When I was in high school, I was homeschooled, and up until high school, I was trying to make the decision on the next step. And I had a list of schools that I was hoping to go to, and I was really searching and praying for where God wanted me to go, but I knew where I wanted to go. After being overwhelmed with suggestions from people trying to give me ideas on where I should go, and as I mentioned earlier, I was interested in pre-med, all of a sudden every school seemed to have the best pre-med program that would offer me a certain advantage, and I was overwhelmed. And I prayed one night, spent several hours just wrestling with God, and I'm asking him for guidance and to make his plan for me clear. Over the next couple of weeks, God orchestrated events in such a way that I found myself in a pastor's office, and he pretty much told me straight, you know, if I were you, I would suggest that you go to Weimar. And I was not expecting that particular conversation to end that way, but I knew that God had been speaking and I hadn't been hearing his voice. So after praying about it, it was literally the scariest decision of my life, because back then Weimar was not accredited, and there were other things that I just didn't know about the school, but I knew God was leading me that way. And he spoke to my parents as well, and so we visited the campus and liked what we saw. But when we visited the campus, I knew that this was where God was sending me to, so I wasn't like the typical student who would visit a campus, because I knew, well, I'm here anyhow. This is where I'll spend the rest of my education. And so God leads in different ways.
Amen.
I learned a lot through that experience about trusting God when it doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's the greatest lesson I think I've learned so far.
Oh, that's powerful. You know, Dr. Nedley, it's neat to see the young people, because this is just a small sampling of the students that are at Weimar. But as we're wrapping up here, I mean, this first hour has gone by, or the hour. I said this is a 2-hour program. This hour has gone by in a hurry. But Dr. Nedley, as the president of Weimar Institute, tell us the goals, the vision, the future for Weimar, where you see Weimar going, and where you see God leading.
Well, Weimar heals a hurting world, and we need a lot more healers in so many different lines of work. And now our dorms have filled up to capacity.
To capacity.
And we are building new housing. We really need to be able to take the input in. It's kind of it's a problem, but it is a good problem to have. And so the Weimar campus is really maxed out. Our programs are maxed out, even depression and anxiety recovery. There's waiting lists for that, New Start, all of those things. And so we really need to expand the infrastructure to be able to train more people utilizing God's methods of education. And we know that this can be multiplied 100-fold. What you're seeing here can be multiplied 100-fold, 1,000-fold. But that's our need. And so if anyone would like to support a student that would not be able to come otherwise, help the housing project aspect of things, because we can't have them there unless there's housing, because these students come from all over the world.
No, that's really good, because we're getting ready to go to the address roll that we call it here, where it gives you contact information of how you can reach out to Weimar Institute. And I'm sure your website, or they can just call and you guys can say, oh yeah, this is how you can donate money to help for the building fund and to help young people. You think about this, you are educating young people that are going to make an impact and that are making an impact in our world today. So let's go to the address roll, then we'll go to a short break and we'll be right back.
If you would like to learn more about the new accredited Weimar Institute, or if you would like to financially support them as they expand their infrastructure and find new opportunities to help teach and heal those in need, then please visit their website, weimar.edu. That's weimar.edu. You may also call them at 530-422-7923 or write to them at Weimar Institute, Post Office Box 486, Weimar, California 95736.
What a privilege it's been to have Dr. Neil Nedley and the students from Weimar College here, and we want to give each one of them a few moments to share a closing thought with you. Tina, we'll start with you.
Well, to all the high school students out there who are trying to decide on the next step and what college they should attend, I would say trust God and have Him lead you to the right school. He knows what's best, and 4 years later, you will be very thankful for trusting in Him, especially when it doesn't make sense.
Carolina.
Weimar College is not just a college, it's a community. And if you join Weimar College, you will be embraced with a loving family, and you will not just be a student. The faculty and the staff truly care. And I have been so blessed by how much they care about me, not just as a student, but as a friend, as someone who is growing spiritually and emotionally and socially. And they address all those different parts of the educational experience that you have. And so if you're being called to come,
follow the Lord.
Amen.
Yes.
Ryan,
Amen.
just a few seconds.
I would just say to anyone who might be interested in learning more about Weimar, if you want to come to a place where you'll be taught by instructors who uplift the life, ministry, and example of Jesus Christ, Weimar is a good place for you.
5 seconds.
Nedley.
You know, we have more than one baptism for every college student on campus every year.
What a great ratio.
Through our health programs and through our community. And so if you want to learn to win souls for the kingdom, I don't know of any better place for a young person to go and also learn advanced skills to be able to reach people from all walks of life than Weimar College.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. God bless you.